Ilia Topuria might be the most hated champion in the UFC today. People claim he has cringy trash talk, disrespects the all-time greats, and he's even fought backstage with fan favorites. But despite this, inside the octagon, Ilia Topuria is a wrecking machine.
He's an animal, dude. He's a real problem.
He has true one-punch knockout power, always looks for the finish, and has never been in a dull fight. So in an era of so-called boring champions, why is someone as exciting as Ilia Topuria still hated? And will he be able to turn the fans on his side? Before arriving to the UFC, Ilia Topuria already had quite the journey. He was born in Germany to Georgian parents, moved back to Georgia at age 7, but due to the numerous political issues there at the time, relocated to Spain at 15. And whether it was judo in Germany, Greco-Roman wrestling in Georgia, or discovering MMA in Spain, Topuria had been training hand-to-hand combat since before he could remember.
For 4 years, he introduced me in judo. Then when we moved to Georgia, we started training with Greco-Roman wrestling. And finally, when we moved to Spain, we started with BJJ and MMA with all the stuff.
He was so infatuated by MMA that one day at 15 years old, Ilia asked his father if he could drop out of school and train full time.
When I was 15 years old, I go with my brother to talk to my father, and we tell him like, hey Dad, we don't want to go to school anymore, but we really want to train, and we're gonna go like all day, every day into gym, and we're gonna train, because my dream was to get to fight in the UFC. And he told me like, if you're really gonna train all the time, and like you tell me, you have my approval.
And just 3 years later, Ilia Topuria turned pro at 18, and those few years of hard work combined with his elite potential was the recipe for some serious success. By the time he turned 23, Ilia was 8-0, had 7 submissions to his name, and became the first ever BJJ black belt to come out of Georgia. But while on paper it may seem like Topuria was just a submission artist, when he arrived at the UFC in 2020, MMA fans soon realized there was much more to his game than just grappling.
Everything is so sharp. His technique is flawless. Everything's flawless. His boxing is so dangerous. He's so dangerous everywhere. He's dangerous with submissions, he's dangerous with kicking, he's dangerous. His heart is dangerous.
In a lighter weight class where the vast majority of fighters don't possess that one-punch KO power, Ilia Topuria was an anomaly. And in the wise words of Jeremy Stephens, when he knocks people out, they don't move.
Right here, the hardest hitting 145 pound, the real hardest hitting 145er right here. This guy TKOs people. When I knock people out, they don't fucking move. Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that?
But the difference between Topuria and others with a knockout potential at featherweight, like Jeremy Stephens or Josh Emmett, is that Ilia doesn't brawl. He won't take one to give one. Instead, he's more akin to a sniper, and on the eye, no one can claim he isn't exciting to watch.
First time that I ever heard he's got the best boxing in MMA, it was from Teddy Atlas, and Teddy didn't just stop there. Teddy said he'd never seen boxing in MMA as good as this kid. And by the way, when Teddy made that statement, Topuria was not the champion of the world yet.
But despite being the finisher with true one-punch knockout power that gets you on the edge of your seat, fans simply don't like Ilia Topuria. So the big question is, why? Well, there's not just one reason to pinpoint. Instead, there's multiple reasons. The most obvious one is the language barrier. In Spain and Georgia, where Topuria is more fluent, he's a legit superstar. His YouTube channel pulls insane views. He was showcased at Real Madrid Football Club's iconic Bernabeu Stadium, and the streets of Georgia were swarmed with fans when he returned with the UFC title.
A mixed martial artist from Georgia.
But in English-speaking countries, which make up a huge proportion of MMA fans, Topuria's journey isn't as well documented, and his trash talk comes across a little cringy and a little cocky, which has definitely alienated people.
De corazón! Hey!
English, yeah?
Hey,
Speak English.
you want to talk to me like the man to man? You said something about me. I went to your country. I slap your face. I get at the waist and win. I walk like a king in your street.
Are you talking English?
And what
there?
you did? What you
Is
did,
that
man?
English?
Yeah, of course I
Speak
do.
English for the people.
Shut up.
Not German or Spanish like you're from.
I'm
you little
talking.
mongrel.
I'm talking in English and fuck you in English. Y que te follen en español.
And when his English was mocked by Max Holloway, Ilia kind of shut him down.
What is the truth?
I always say, I always all the time say the same. I don't need to say anything.
What? Speak, bro. Come on.
Bro, I'm speaking in your language. Let's talk in Spanish. Let's talk in Georgian. Let's talk in Russian. Let's talk in Germany. What the f you talking about, man? Si quieres hablamos en español y te pongo en tus sitios. If you want to talk in English, whatever you want to do, boy.
Hell, whatever you want to do, boy. Just show up October 26th.
October 26th and bring the
Show up,
same
my
energy
guy.
in the first 10 seconds and
Show up,
you're
my
gonna
guy.
realize.
But the biggest underlying reason why MMA fans don't like Topuria is due to who his opponents have been. If you just fly through the majority of Topuria's victories, there's always a reason why he was the person being booed on his way to the octagon. People liked Ryan Hall's completely unique style of hunting for leg locks only. Yet, Topuria knocked the American out on American soil. Then, it was turning England's Jai Herbert lights off in London, finishing Bryce Mitchell when he was an undefeated fan favorite, and dominating Josh Emmett, who the MMA community already had a soft spot for. Topuria was putting on incredible performances, and although not getting the fans, he was clearly getting the recognition.
Ilia has really surprised me a lot. I think he's sharp, clean, his body work, his composure inside there, you know. Was phenomenal when he fought Emmett. You know, I know how tough Emmett is, and he's a good, solid boxer, hard to put away, tough as nails. And you see in that fight, it was like, wow, like Ilia really put it on him.
I would package him as about as close to a build, a mind, a strategist, and just an overall good mixed martial artist as being as close to perfect as we maybe have like experienced before, just in the sense, I mean, he hasn't been tried and tested yet, but I do think that his style is so well-rounded and so buttoned up and doesn't have a lot of holes to it.
And it was in the build-up to his fight in London where Ilia Topuria had a huge online rivalry with Paddy Pimblett that eventually came to blows backstage.
Bitch. Fuck you, bitch.
It started when Paddy was arguing online with another Georgian fighter and mocked Georgia for being terrorized by Russia over the years. The two countries have historically been in constant conflict, with countless Georgians having lost their lives, so Ilia was always going to take Paddy's comment personally.
He posed like, now I understand why Russia destroyed Georgia because you are dumps. And it makes my blood boil, you know. When I saw, I was like surprised. I didn't believe when I saw that tweet, because in 2008 I was living in Georgia when that war happened, you know, and it was a very difficult time for me, for my family, for all my friends, for my country, you know. A lot of innocent people, kids, were dying in that war, and see how someone is joking about that. It makes my blood boil. So,
but it of course goes without saying that becoming an enemy of one of the sport's biggest up-and-comers isn't going to get the masses on your side. Despite the hate, Topuria's incredible run was undeniable, and it earned him a shot at the featherweight title. And while he was going up against a pound-for-pound great in Alexander Volkanovski, Topuria's supreme confidence in the build-up came across as cocky to some.
I'm gonna humble you. I'm gonna show you levels. I'm gonna warp the floor with you.
Hey, I'm gonna make this look easy.
I'm gonna fucking.
Hey, I'm gonna make this look easy.
You see that belt?
Yeah,
That's
I've
the
seen
last
it for
day
a while
you enjoy
now, and
that
I'll
belt.
keep seeing it.
That's the last days you are enjoying that belt.
He said he was going to beat Volkanovski in round one. Okay, and that sounded crazy. That sounded like hype. Sounded like him just trying to manifest it like the kids say these days. or it was on pure knowledge because of how hard the guy works.
In the end though, Topuria talked the talk and walked the walk. But Volkanovski was a fighter almost every MMA fan on the planet loved, so it just instantly made Ilia the bad guy.
You know, most of your opponents in the past have, said that they could beat you, but they offered you a lot of respect. Ilia hasn't really offered you that respect.
Now that you can compare me with his past opponents.
Well, what do you make? What do you make of it? What do you make of that energy that he's bringing? That lack of respect. What do you make of that?
Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Shut up.
I think this old man needs to teach this young fella a lesson. What do you reckon?
And now against Max Holloway, it's the exact same story. Everyone roots for Max, even more so after his insane last-second knockout of Justin Gaethje at UFC 300. And with almost the entire MMA fan base wanting Max to recapture his title, naturally, Topuria is going to be the villain yet again when he says anything.
What makes me feel very excited about that fight is that no one could knock him out, and I'm like, there is no way I'm not gonna knock him out. I will be the first one to knock him out, because every time I watch him fight, I'm like, I'm way better than him. If you put me only with him in kickboxing or in boxing, even in a chess match, I beat him. Like, well, whatever you wanna do, boy, I can beat you.
But this theme has repeated itself at featherweight numerous times. In 14 years, the division has only had 5 undisputed champions, and when Conor McGregor took the belt from Jose Aldo, the old school MMA fans were questioning who this new dude was on the scene. Similarly, when Volkanovski was talking trash to the then longtime champion Max Holloway, it rubbed some MMA fans the wrong way, much like Ilia did in his fight against Volk. So when you map out the reasons for the Ilia Topuria hate, most of it comes from circumstances out of his control. Because when you really think about it, Topuria should absolutely be a fan favorite, and here's why. In an era of so-called boring champions, Ilia Topuria is the epitome of what MMA fans, and especially the casual fan, wants to see when they tune into a fight. Hardly any wrestling, guaranteed fireworks, and a good chance you're going to see someone go to sleep. Some of the biggest annoyances fans have against many fighters today is the fact that they play it safe, wrestle too much, and don't look for the finish.
This is a hardcore fan, 25-minute grapple fest of just holding against the cage. He won? Genius game plan from him. God, it's just amazing. Dude, anyone who calls this boring is a casual. Fucking...
Whereas Ilia Topuria is the complete opposite of that. If he was at welterweight or middleweight and didn't have to fight guys like Volkanovski and Holloway, his fan base would undoubtedly be far greater than it is today. He'd probably be viewed similar to how a Shavkat Rakhmonov is, an out-and-out finisher who doesn't speak perfect English, yet everyone loves watching him fight. Topuria is just an unfortunate product of his circumstances. But at 27 years old, he's not going anywhere. And win or lose against Max Holloway, Topuria is still going to be at the top of the division for years to come, while Volk and Holloway are inducted into the Hall of Fame. So as the years go on and the highlight reel grows, fans will surely come around on the Georgian Spaniard who's looking to knock out everyone in his path. And speaking of UFC fighters some people hate and some people love, we made a deep dive video into how Jon Jones still haunts Daniel Cormier to this day. So be sure to check it out, and thanks for watching.